Troy Sprinkle. I'm your co-host, one of many.
And welcome, Creative Mornings, Fort Worth.
So real quick, make sure your phones are on silent before we get going.
We are a global movement for something big that's getting bigger. Creative Mornings is the largest face-to-face creative community in the world. This is the Creative Mornings Manifesto. If you've been to Creative Mornings before, you're familiar with it. It embodies our values and the truth that we believe in and that we work to uphold. Oh, my heart.
Uh-oh.
So we're going to read this together. And we'll be led by Everyone is Creative. A creative
life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in living in freedom. We believe in face-to-face connections and learning from others in hugs and high fives. We bring together people who are driven by passion, purpose, confident,
and inspire change.
Around the world. Everyone is welcome.
You might ask yourself, how is all this possible? Well, we have global partners that we would like to thank who are champions of creativity, MailChimp. MailChimp is Creative Mornings' official partner for communication, and you really want to check out Emil here with My Dear Kyrgyzstan. He's working to put his village on the map for the international tourist, as an international tourist location. We also want to thank a global partner, WordPress, and WordPress is our official partner for web publication. If you're interested in improving your writing, you want to visit the Daily Post because they have tons of writing prompts that you can explore. And we love our local partners. Printed Threads is our local champion of creativity. And what you want to do is you want to check out their screen printing experience because they believe in helping people grow and that a rising tide lifts all boats. So whether you're a boutique or you want to start your own thing, they're the folks that you want to go to. And this is how you do it. So now I'm going to shake things up a little bit because my nerves are kind of So stand up if you're for hire.
Julie, if you stand up, we got some issues.
Okay, thank you. Now stand up if you're hiring.
Hey.
Okay, now stand up if there's something that you're excited about. Yeah! Now high five a stranger or somebody that you don't know.
I met you. Hi, I met you too.
Well, we know each other.
How I know you? Yes. This one's theme is Lost. It was picked by our Milwaukee chapter, and it was illustrated by Melissa Lee Johnson. And now, without further ado, I want to welcome to the Creative Mornings Fort Worth stage, Lauren Bogle.
Lauren and Bogle, current role and operator, Ken Feather. I remember thinking in my mind, like, oh crap, I can't fix this before we flipped. I know there's a reason why I'm here. And I know that God put me here because of it. I've got an incredible team that has held it down. Like, it is fully peaceful. I love building that business and I love who I work with. That'll be another thing I'm looking forward to. Dallas Cowboys games. And my God, if they suck, I'll be like, I love this, or you guys said it was shitty.
Yeah, it happens.
The doctor walked in and asked, well, what happened? How did this happen? And I told him I was riding bulls. And he was like, mechanical bulls? That was like, not real bulls.
Hey y'all, buenos dias. From New Mexico. I gotta represent a little bit, but my name is Lauren Bogle, and July 1st, a couple months ago, was quite the 2-month sabbatical that I did not intentionally plan. I was back home. I'm from Roswell, New Mexico. I'm technically from Dexter, which would get my local people really upset, but no one knows where Dexter is. It's 15 miles south of Roswell, New Mexico, Alienville. And I went home because I was training for a triathlon. And in true fashion, in true redneckery fashion, I was kind of in a tough spot. I was a little lost internally, and I didn't realize it. I had fallen in love with someone for the first time in a decade, like true love, and I'd been wanting that for so long. And he walked away from me, and I didn't get to check my emotions at the door. And I let my emotions drive every decision I was making at the time, and I wasn't thinking of my team, my clients, my family, my friends, my colleagues, my fur babies at home. I have a corgi and a chocolate lab, represent dog moms. But I wasn't thinking about that. And in true redneck fashion, there's nothing to do in small town USA, and we all went to a bonfire a couple nights before my so-called triathlon that I was gonna do. And my friend was giving me a tour of his place, and I spotted a red four-wheeler in the corner of the garage. And I was like, that thing, I wanna take that, and I wanna fly and not think. And that's kind of where my mind was, because my emotions were not in check. And so I jumped on the back of it, and that was his first mistake, because he called me a princess, and he told me that I'd never driven a four-wheeler before, and I was like, oh, you hit my pride, you hit it right, right where it counts. And so I got on it, and I flew out, and he was like, uh-oh. And I guess him jumping on the back was going to help monitor how I was driving it. But he was going through some things too. And so essentially, 2 broken people got on a four-wheeler that night with their emotions completely not in check. And I had it topped out on paved road. We were gone for about 20 minutes. And I turned on dirt road to get back to the bonfire where our friends were waiting for us. And I didn't adjust my speed, because I only know one speed at all things in life, and that's balls to the wall, 100 miles per hour with every facet. It's another lesson that I learned. And so I hit the dirt road, and we started fishtailing, and I remember him flying off, and the last thought that I remember is, oh shit, I can't fix this. And after that, 2 weeks of blackness. And he was passed out, and he came to, and he found me in the four-wheeler a bit a ways away. And he had 3 broken fingers, a broken clavicle, and his entire left ear came off. Yeah, it was a little intense. And he found me in the four-wheeler, and he had to flip that four-wheeler right side up to go get help, because we didn't have, it's Roswell, New Mexico, in the middle of nowhere. We didn't have cell phones, nothing. And so luckily, one of my friends from high school was still at the bonfire. Everyone else had left, and he was waiting, because he was like, this isn't like Lauren for her to just disappear for an hour and not hear anything from that. And he was there, and he said it was like a scene out of Braveheart, and a scene out of Braveheart, because he rolled up on the four-wheeler with no ear and a lot of blood, and he was like, what's going on? So they all jumped in the truck and went to find me, and I was just chilling in the middle of a dirt road for 30 to 45 minutes. And how a rattlesnake did not bite my ass, I have no idea. It was probably like, you probably went around and was like, oh, not today. It looks like you've had a tough one. It's like, I get it. So I was just chilling in the middle of a dirt road, and I feel like I was surrounded by angels. And I'm not trying to push my religion on anyone, but any spirituality that you have during times like this, when you're trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense, it gives you peace. But all to say, I was just chilling in the middle of a dirt road. They found me, and then they called an ambulance to come get me, to take me to the hospital about 1.25 miles away. And the ambulance came within like 6 minutes. And then they got me sedated and everything, because apparently I was combative, because I won't go down without a fight. And my friend told me that I tried to throw a punch at him in the hospital, and they were like, what in the world? But they sedated me and they assessed all of my injuries. I had a brain bleed on the right side. That's where I hit. 4 fractures in my back, all spinal processes. My pelvis broken in half, and my MCL and my ACL were torn. And so they had to air flight me to Lubbock. And thank God they air flighted me to Lubbock instead of UNM, because I'm a former Red Raider. So I felt right at home whenever I came to, and I was like, all this Texas Tech memorabilia, wreck 'em. Not really, but yeah, I'm here because of that. But whatever, we'll go with it. So I was in ICU and in the hospital for about 2 weeks. And then they operated on my pelvis that afternoon. And then it was another experience. I felt like I lost all of my first never have I evers in one night. I've never broken a bone. I've never had surgery until that entire situation. I make things count, so I broke the biggest bone in my body. But it was very interesting. But in all of that, I did not realize that I was truly lost, because what I tend to do is I deflect, and so I dive more into business, or I dive more into workout, or I do anything I can to just kind of sidetrack myself instead of like handle the emotions that are going on inside of me, because there is a lot of strength in vulnerability, and sometimes you have to be comfortable with discomfort. And it's not easy and it's not pleasant. But whenever you go through adversity, and I've gone through adversity before this. I've been laid off twice. I've had my own like personal adversity situations, but you have 2 choices, and it's, are you the victim or are you the victor? And to take ownership of it, whenever I woke up, I never once asked him. I never said, why me? Why now? I knew exactly why I was there. And I knew that he was trying to teach me lessons that I just wouldn't listen, because I'm very stubborn and I'm very hard-headed. And there were like little signs, but I was like, no, not today. We'll handle that next week. But instead, it had to be a traumatic experience for me to listen.
I am always my toughest critic, and to the extent where if like I win 1 new business, I want to get 3 more. Like, what's wrong with me if I didn't win all 3? And I like let that stuff eat at me. And I was training before this for a triathlon, and if I could run 8-minute miles, well, then I count 7. And why can't I run 7? Come on, Lauren, like, stop being lazy. If I can swim 1 mile, why can't you swim 2? Like, it's never enough for me. And at first I thought, because I am very driven and I am very ambitious, I thought, okay, that's just because I'm ambitious. But to an extent that I don't appreciate where I'm at in the current moment. Like, I don't slow down. Like I said, slow the roll is part of the other one. I don't slow down. And I'm not trying to like brag about myself or be boastful, but I don't sit there and go like, hey, you're 28, you own a business. Like, done your job, you built it all from scratch. I don't sit there and like give myself appreciation for that, because it's gonna get dark. Because before this, and again, that's why I know there's a reason why I'm here. And I know that God put me here because of it. And because I always feel like I have to be on, or I have to impress people, because I'm never good enough. Like, myself is not interesting, or I'm not pretty, or I'm not a certain way, or like I'm constantly doing that to myself. I don't sit there and like see what other people see about me. And so I feel like I can't be loved. And so, come full circle with all this. It was kind of funny, because the first day of therapy, my therapist asked me, what were you good at before this? I literally couldn't even answer that question, because I don't feel like, I don't know my strengths, and I don't see myself as other people do. And I was like, well, I was a good worker. She was like, you'll be able to dance after this. And I was like, what if, because of the pit, I get to work even better? Get out of this world.
And one of the reasons why we did these interviews, and not that I'd ever forget about what happened, but just reminding myself that raw, stripped down emotion is why we did that whenever I was in rehab, because it's fresh and it still feels very fresh. And I definitely am not a good twerker still, but I'm working on it, because literally it's like a hinge. I have a 10-inch rod in my pelvis, right through my right side, all the way through my sacrum, through the left side. And I'm super bummed because I went to a Dallas Cowboys game because my two goals was to twerk and to make it in time for September 8th, which was the opening game for Dallas Cowboys season. And I was really excited whenever the entryway for security, when you go through, I'm like, oh, it's gonna go off, it's gonna go off. Like I'm super excited to tell them that I have this huge 10-inch rod in my pelvis. And it didn't go off. And it didn't go off in the airport because apparently titanium is not metal, but whatever. But they wanted me down at a concert right behind, and then it finally went off, and I was like, yes, justice for what I went through. Thank you. I didn't even get a handicap stick or anything. But anyway, I was like, what's the point of going through all this if I can't share it? Because I'm always excited to be like, look at my x-ray, look at my x-ray. It's crazy. But all to say, I did not realize that I was searching for my purpose or what my strengths were until this situation, which was a lot. And it's really easy to focus on the good that you have versus what you don't have and the people that aren't around you, and to get caught up in that and get caught up in the mud and the muck. I remember telling my mother one time when I was in rehab, I said, I understand why people get depressed in these situations because it is a very, very lonely place. You're surrounded, also I'm 28, and you're surrounded by 80, 90-year-olds who have blown out their hip for the 4th time and they don't want to talk to you. I tried. I was like, buenos dias, and I roll in with my wheelchair, and they didn't think it was cool. But I did tell them, I was like, you guys are all not using technology to your benefit because my goodness, I was trying to figure out how to book a handicap lift and an airplane flight out of Lubbock. I could be in Jamaica, find my Captain Jack Sparrow. That's how I could recover. That was my end game. I also used favor to my benefit and would order cheesecake. And the delivery guy would be like, this is not the apartment complex. I'm like, I know, it's rehab, room 201, go to the 2nd floor. Bring me my cheesecake. So I was like, you guys are all wanting to complain about technology, but you're not using it to your benefit. Let me teach you some things. But during that time, too, I didn't realize how extroverted I was until you're stuck in rehab, and your favorite movies like Sweet Home Alabama on USA 5 times a day, every day gets boring after a while, and TV gets boring, and music gets boring. And so I became really good friends with the nurses and therapists because they were closer to my age. I tried to be friends with the patients, but they didn't want to talk. They didn't want to talk. But.
And apparently, they only have me on 200 milligrams ibuprofen every couple hours. So to say I'm tough is a bit of an understatement. With fractures in my back, a brain bleed, my pelvis broken in half, and then we thought that my ACL was torn. My ACL is still torn, but it'll heal without surgery. My ACL is not torn, and hopefully I won't have to rock this Wonder Woman brace for much longer. I mean, it's like a permanent waist trainer, so I'm feeling my abs are getting real flat, but I have fractures in my back, so hopefully in a couple weeks I'll get out of this. Both braces. I'd love to have a therapeutic burn session and burn them in a bonfire. That's over with. The perspectives that he's giving me, the lessons, even though they're not easy to stomach at all. They're not easy, and also losing control. I'm a control freak, and I have no control literally over anything right now, besides my attitude.
That was my dad's gig in Artesia, New Mexico, about a month and a half after, and I told him, I was like, I won't twerk for your sake, but I really want to. And I wore my knee sleeve just in case I needed to bust it out. But yeah, it's just lessons and perspectives, and in situations like this, and in any adversity that you face, you feel very raw, and if you're willing to learn, I mean, that's all we're trying to do, right? We're human and we're fallen, and that's, if you take adverse situations and even good situations and try to learn from them instead of let them control you, that shows your integrity and your character, and that's what gets you through at the end of the day. Also, strengths and weaknesses, my attitude and my personality, I wasn't trying to make light of it. It just kept me taking it day by day. I didn't see 5 months down the road, a year from now, because I was not supposed to be able to walk within 3 months. And I told the doctor, I was like, yeah, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So then I had to learn to be patient with myself, which is really hard because I'm constantly chasing that next high when it comes to anything, new business, building a team, workout, like if I can do this and I can do that, it's never enough. And so at this time it was like, it's okay to be able to wipe my own ass at 28 and not have my dad do it. It's a good day. It's a good day. Like, you don't realize how much you take for granted until you're dependent on everyone else around you, which was a big thing. I definitely asked my doctor who put the pin in my pelvis after I broke my ass in half. I was like, wait, can I have children? That was my biggest concern. He was like, yes. I was like, awesome, I'm good. The goals for myself are those 3 lessons. Be patient. I feel like God doesn't give us patience, He teaches us patience. So patience. Number 2, slow my roll in all things, not just physically driving, but yeah, that's part of it, like slow the F down more. And then 3rd is enough is enough, you are enough. So applying those 3 lessons to my everyday life, professionally, personally, spiritually, all that stuff will be goals that I'll translate, lessons that I'll translate into my everyday life. I have tried to slow down a bit when it comes to driving or just appreciating the little things in life, which is good. The you are enough lesson has been a tough one for me, and especially as of late, because I still was going through that heartbreak, and then I woke up in rehab and was like, oh, okay, like I'm still going through it. So all that emotion compiled has been a lot. But working through it and embracing now is definitely a big part of it. So in conclusion, if you are lost, it might not be that you're lost. You might just be wandering and searching and trying to find what's fulfilling to you. And when you're trying to find that, check yourself to make sure that your self-worth is not in things or in people, because that will disappoint you over and over again. I expect people to treat me the way that I treat them, and that's not fair to them to make that expectation of them. They didn't ask for that. They don't owe you anything, and so you have to make sure that you're secure and strong within yourself, and that it's not within something else, and that your identity is not in that thing, like in business or in people or in a person that you fell in love with, because they need to do what's best for them, and we're all just trying to survive at the end of the day. And I'm gonna try my damnedest to honor the fact that my life was saved, but I'm only 28, and I'm gonna continue to make mistakes, and I'm not gonna walk through life perfectly, and I know that. And I will continue to face more adversity, because when it rains, it pours, like we all know. But in doing that, I'm going to try and hear the lessons that are trying to be taught to me, and just so I can be a better person for those around me, because that's all you got to do is just, your biggest advocate is yourself. And if you're looking for someone else to be that for you, you're going to fall short. And so you have to learn to find the strength within yourself whenever your back's against the wall and you're fighting for your life back, just to be able to, again, wipe your ass at 28. Like, it's a big deal. But all to say, you might not be lost. You might just be in a growing pattern. And that's a beautiful thing. And enjoy the good and the bad and all of it. So that's all I've got.
Do you guys have any
Good.
questions for Lauren? Anybody have any questions? We've got a little bit of time here.
Yeah.
So I know your faith is really important to you and how it helped you get through this, but faith notwithstanding, what kind of things like self-care and whatnot do you employ now to keep yourself going and motivate yourself?
So what kind of things besides my faith that keeps me going?
Yeah, like self-care and like that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Workout is a big one, endorphins, but I'm not trying to dive and be obsessed with that because of what I just said, to where I'm not trying to overdo it. But healthy endorphins, sleep, it's a beautiful thing. Being an entrepreneur, I would average about 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night. Now I'm averaging 8, and that's okay if I don't wake up at the butt crack ass of dawn. That doesn't make me a less entrepreneur. But that, just making sure that that's healthy and taking time for myself and understanding my limits. That's a strength, because I used to not think I had any limits, and I'm invincible, and that makes me weak if I say, no, not today, or I can't meet with all 4 of my friends today. I'm just too tapped out. Come on, Lauren. But it's okay to understand your limits. So making sure that you put yourself first, and much more than just things, but just checking in with yourself is part of that self-care. Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah.
Lauren, how, a lot of this has been about you and how it's affected you. How do you think it's affected how you've led people in your teams and the people in your life, at different levels?
That's a good question. How has it affected those around me? And I was going to touch on that, so I'm glad that you asked that question. Because one of the other lessons was having grace for other people around me, because just like I wasn't expected to walk through it perfectly, those around me weren't either. And they're having their own perspective as I'm having my own perspective. So giving grace to people in situations like that. Now I understand when my grandparents had their favorite nurses, because you wake up and you get to shower, go to the bathroom in front of anyone and everyone. And you have to get comfortable with that, immediately. And you're like, wait a minute, I know I'm 28, but hang on. But giving grace to those around you, and understanding that it's not their fault that you're there, and that's part of the ownership. When you take ownership of your own faults, then it's everyone's just trying to do their best to make it through day-to-day things. And it hurt me to go through it. I can't imagine the people that love me and the people that care for me. I can't imagine what it was like for them to see it. And again, even in the hospital and in ICU, I wasn't awake. I was awake, but I was not all there. So I can't imagine. So it's just giving grace to people. That's really, and that's part of that patience. My leash is a lot longer than it used to be for people. Good question, though. Yeah. Julie?
Is there anything that you wish you would have done differently despite what you've learned going through this?
I would say I would check my emotions and not hop on a four-wheeler that night. But everything happens for a reason, and it went down the way that it was supposed to go down, with the people that it was supposed to go down with. So it all happened the way it was supposed to. The only thing different I would have done is try to check my emotions. But honestly, I would have taken that four-wheeler hard, whether I was going through something or not, because I only know one speed at all things in life. So understanding my limits and understanding that I'm not bulletproof, I would do that different with every aspect of my life. Good question, though. Yeah.
How do you find yourself coping with having to slow down your roll and then not being able to escape those emotions that you would typically say, forget this and go a million miles an hour?
Good question. How do I cope with the emotions of all of it? So I would escape to the chapel because of my faith. I would escape there whenever I was in rehab to just kind of unplug, because that's the thing, is when you're stuck in rehab with everyone around you, it's literally like God thumped me on the head and was like, oh, you changed and you thought everyone else was going to change. That was cute. That was a cute idea. And so I can't get up and leave. So I would have to make excuses to go escape somewhere. But now I do counseling once a week, every week. And I honestly did that before because I think, checking in with your mental health is very important. And adversity and good and bad things are going to continue to challenge you. So it's not just a seasonal thing. It's just making sure that you're keeping in check with that. So that's really helped me tremendously, and my faith. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, Trey.
Were you wearing a helmet?
In true redneck fashion, no. No, there's no helmets lying around in the middle of nowhere in Roswell when you get on a four-wheeler, so
Do you think that would have changed anything?
no.
Okay.
I mean, I might not have had a brain bleed,
Right.
but I still would have had 4 fractures in my back, my pelvis broken in half, and my knee messed up. And I was like, of course I'd blow my knee falling off of a four-wheeler instead of skiing or playing sports my whole life. Like, of course that would happen. But it's all good. It's all good. Yeah?
Lauren, I have one more. You know, this is Creative Morning, so from a creative standpoint, you know, from your craft, from your art, sometimes, you know, the events that in our life, those big events like that, change the direction or, you know, create totally different style or, you know, view. Do you feel like any of that's changed in the work that you and your teams create?
It hasn't changed in the work yet. I'm sure it will evolve. Taking every day, day by day, because I used to have like a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan. I don't have that, and like that's okay. If I'm meant to own an agency in 5 years, awesome. If I'm meant to, you know, go show horses in 5 years, awesome. But all in all, my purpose, even before the accident and after, is I've always wanted to be a coach. And so I've always wanted to motivate those around me. And so just motivating my team internally to accomplish their dreams and my clients to accomplish their dreams, like that's all I'm here to do. And so in terms of work, like actual work, it hasn't reflected that yet. But do we slow down with turnovers and like timelines? Absolutely. Because I'm like, it's not the end of the world. You can breathe. We can enjoy the weekend. We can enjoy Thanksgiving. We don't have to get it done before then. The world keeps turning. So in terms of timelines, it's reflected. Yeah?
Another question. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about your current relationship with your emotions, because I've heard you talk some about checking your emotions now, but also recognizing the value in vulnerability. So, like, me personally, sometimes when I do something out of emotion, I can get mad at myself, and why am I that way? But, yeah, so I'm just curious what your relationship is with your emotions now.
What my relationship is with my emotions? Good question. I think there's strength in vulnerability, and going through all the emotions is hard, but it's okay because I didn't walk through this perfectly. Did I get mad sometimes? Did I want to punch a wall? Did I cry myself to sleep at times? Yeah. I didn't go through it perfectly, and that's okay because we're human. So we're meant to go through that, and whenever we do, we're really tough on ourselves, like, why am I not strong enough, or why can't I get this, or why can't I just get over that and let that go? Instead, go through it, because when you don't go through it, you get on a four-wheeler. That's the problem. So currently, I'm just letting it happen and giving it patience and grace to let that happen. And it's going to be a little bit leftovers because it's still very fresh to me. But allowing that to just kind of do its thing is okay, and give yourself grace. Mm-hmm. Questions? Yeah.
Having been the driver and having been the passenger in that situation, I've been on both sides. How did you deal with, like, did you feel guilt afterwards? And how did you process that? And I know you mentioned he was also a broken person, so it kind of like bonds two people together when that happens. I just wanted your experience on that.
So I handled the guilt in all of it. I'm repeating it. So, yeah, and no, it's okay. And there's some days that I feel guilt and shame, but I can't allow the accident to define me because I do not want anyone, like if I could control people and the way they think of me, I don't want them to see me as the girl that had this horrible wreck. I hope, and I know that time will do its thing and eventually be like, wow, that was a crazy summer. Like I think even at work, we're like, what happened 4 months ago? Like it's crazy. And I know that it'll heal, but I had to forgive myself, and I'm very thankful that I took the brunt of it because that helped with that guilt. And I didn't know him that well, which is crazy. But he's all good. He also found his ear in the dirt, by the way, and put it back on as if it never happened. So everything's gravy. Got hearing in his ear a week later, so everything's good. And we're still cool. We're still friends, which is good. You know, this is why I'm single, but whatever. It happens. But I had to forgive myself, because the only person that's putting that on me is me. And I can't give power to those that might think a certain way or feel insecure about, like, oh, well, what if they just think that I'm leveraging this or whatever. Like, if I'm good with myself, nothing else matters and the noise is quiet. So you've got to forgive yourself. Yeah, good question. Anything else?
All right, cool.
Awesome.
Let's give Lauren her
Thank
round.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great singing up here, and I know that was a real challenge, but you did a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, just a quick reminder, our next event is Friday, December 20th. We normally are trying to do Creative Mornings on every fourth Friday, so you could try to mark your calendars out, but